Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to my channel, my silly little channel where we sit here and faff around with things, all things wire and beads and a few other things besides. Hope you're all doing okay. My name is Sam, if you're new here, and I'm just a stay-at-home mum who likes to dabble in pretty things. Welcome to the northwest of England. Beautiful day today. It's sunny, blue sky, but the very late autumn, early winter is kissing our land here in the northwest of England, and it's frosty in my garden this morning. Even the frog is, or a toad. Is that a frog or a toad? Even the frog or toad is looking a bit fed up this morning. So we wrapped up my palm tree. As you can see, it looks like some strange sort of ethereal weird thing. So I'm almost tempted to buy a giant Christmas bauble and stick it on the top. What do you think? Anyways, let's get back to the jewellery, shall we? Hope you're all doing okay. So this week I've been faffing around with some little links. Aren't these cute? I sort of was just messing around and had an idea in my head, but I thought I would have a look at different shapes. So I've done like a diamond, a circle and a pear-shaped. So as I was faffing about, making, sort of seeing what works and what doesn't, as you know, started out with this kind of shape here, which I'll probably develop into a different type of link with the spiral going the other way. And you just sort of sit and, make things, don't you? And you go through a bit of wire, making things wrong, which I've done. So I've come up with these. So we're going to go through a list of materials of the things that you need. I'll just pop those out of the way. Real simple, as always. We use our 1mm. I'm using bare copper wire in soft. This is 18 gauge for those of you who like to use gauges. So I'll just pop that over there. I'm not sponsored by these people, but I will put the link in the description of where I buy my wires. A great UK company. I do think that they ship worldwide, but it would be quite expensive, I think, given the weights, but that's up to you. Just a ruler so I can give you some length measurements. You're going to also need some flat nose pliers for the squares. You're going to need some cutters, some 6-step bail making pliers, because I just like the consistency of things. So mine are 2 to 9, but it doesn't matter. This principle would be, you can use anything you like. Some chain nose pliers, just your favourite ones. And I think that is it. If you want to put some beads on, I'm using 5/0s. Use whatever you like, as long as it goes, over your wire. And the ever-present cup of coffee. Don't forget your coffee. And I think that's about it. So I'll just clear the table away and we'll get going. Real quick and easy, this one. Righty, my friends, we're back. So let's have a look at the circular one first. I mean, the principle is the same for all of these, but I'll just quickly go through. I'm a quick video this time, because I'm going to make these into possibly a bracelet for this one, just because it's really cute, and I'm going to add some beads on this one. So let's have a look. You're going to need obviously a ruler. Let's measure out some lengths. I'm using centimeters because I'm European and we use centimeters, but I will tell you the inch equivalent as long as I remember. If I forget sometimes, let me know in the comments. I'm quite happy for you to remind me. So 10 centimeters for each one of these. I'll just cut 2 lengths. We'll make 2. And then if you get bored of listening to me, you can forward or mute me indeed. It is a chatty channel, just for your knowledge. So, if you don't like the chat, that's fine. There are other channels. Wonderful. Right, let's go ahead and have a look at what we need to do. So let's take our first piece of wire. So we have 10 centimeters, 4 inches, give or take. Now for these, I think I used the 5th step on my plier. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, which is 7mm, if that is relevant to you. So this end here is the end where we are putting our little loop, our attachment loop. So it doesn't have to be that long, that part there, this part here. This is the end where all the business is done, okay? So, maybe, I don't know, a quarter of the way down, and wrap your wire around like so. And then make a circle. These are the kind of motifs that we make a lot in jewellery, isn't it? So you want that kind of shape. if you want, and I do quite often, is do a production line. So you would do, you know, however many you need. So yeah, let's do it that way. So again, about 1/4 of the way down and over the top and make a circle. So you could do them all together, you know, so that they're all the same size, all the same shape, if you wanted to. That's entirely up to you. Next thing we do is we want to put an angle on here. So we just want to straighten this up so it looks like that. Yeah. The next thing we want to do is to wind this long piece around, almost like we're making a wire wrap loop essentially, because that's essentially what is going on behind the scenes. That's the underside, that's the upper side. So if you don't want to mar your wire, you can wrap some tape around your pliers. If you're grasping it at the top, don't worry about it too much because the spiral is going to cover the top anyway, so it doesn't worry me too much. You know, things are handmade, they're going to have a little bit of marring sometimes. So grasp your little hoop, your loop here, and we're going to, you can use your pliers if you want, or if you have strong hands, use your fingers. So we're just going to wrap this around once and then back over the top. But don't follow all the way back round. You want to leave an angle like this. Yeah, so normally we'd make that flat and go back underneath, wouldn't we? Don't do that. Leave it like that on a little bit of an angle so it's sticking up. Yeah? Okay, so let's do that with this one as well. We'll do a production line situation, which is what I like to do when I'm making chains in front of the TV. Oops. Let's just straighten this guy up here. So pop an angle in there so it's sticking straight up, or as near as you want it to be, like so. There we go. Yeah, and then we'll come in and wind this round over the top, back under, and then just leave it on a bit of an angle like this. Come back in with your pliers now, your ruler. If you wanted to make these larger, obviously use the larger mandrel, and then leave a longer length that I'm going to tell you now. Leave a longer length to make the spiral a little larger. This is just for a little dainty version. So you want to leave this long wire here. You want to cut it off at approximately 3 centimeters, which is just over 1 1/4 inches. So just give that a snip. And then again, if you wanted to do it production line, you can do, which I do like to do. Right, so 3 centimeters, one and just over 1 1/4 inches. So do that with all of them if you're doing them all at the same time. I find that doing them all at the same time brings you some really good consistent results. So that's just the way I do it. All right, so here we have our pieces. The next thing we want to do is to flip it upside down. Yeah, because we want this to spiral down here. When I was making the prototypes, I did it the other way round, and whilst that's very pretty, I did it this way anyway. So flip it upside down so that the loop is facing away from you. And then I come in with the first step on my plier. You can use your round nose if you want to make a spiral. So we're going to force the spiral this way towards the loop. Yeah, so you start your spiral off, nicely rolling the wrist, and then if you stop when it's about here, and then just give the couple of millimeters snip off the end, which helps to keep the spiral circular. Doesn't work every time. I mean, if you cut it on an angle, that also helps as well. There are people much better at this than me, and then just use your wrist to start your spiral off. So as you can see, it's not perfect, doesn't matter to me. Then come in with a flat bladed plier, and then just keep spiraling that around as far as you can until you get to this sort of stage. Can you see how that is? Oops. All right. And then turn it back to face you because you want to be making sure that that spiral sits on top of this loop nice and neatly. So just give it a little bit more of a, and then all I do, because I've got decent fingers, is just squash that down on the top. So you can see how that is squashed over the top. If you want to come in with your nylon jaw at this point, excuse me, you can give it a little bit of a squish if you wanted to. So essentially, as you can see, the spiral is fitting on top of the circle. Isn't that pretty? So I'll just go ahead and do the other one. So that's 3 centimeters. Just squish that down a little bit. Turn the loop away from you, so it's facing away. Come in with your plier. Start your spiral off. Just cut a little tiny bit off. Mind your eyes, obviously, as always. And then with your wrist motion, just start and make a beautiful circular spiral, if you can. It's an art form, and there are people much better at it than I. Don't forget, I'm only a beginner, really. I'm just showing you what I've been making this week, because it's nice to share, isn't it? Even though I'm not very good at this, it's nice to share, you know, nice to share what we've been doing. Keep that running around there, and then when you're happy, squash. Come in with your nylon jaw if you want to, and then just give it a bit of a squish, very gently. And there we have our little links. Aren't they pretty? So at this point, if you wanted to, you could put on some beads if you like. If you've been watching me for long enough, you know that I do like working with seed beads. Yeah, I think they're really, really pretty. I do like semi-precious, of course, but I just think the little Preciosa seed beads are super pretty on, you know, on jewellery such as this. So you would put your little beads on. And then what we want to do, so that's the top side, turn it so the bottom side is facing you, holding your bead down. I mean, obviously, if you want no beads on, just do this bit without the bead. You know, you would just bend it away from you. I'm just going to put a bead on. Take your plier, and holding that bead down, very, very gently, without cracking your bead, just bend your wire away from you like this. You want about 1 centimetre, give or take, so cut it off, and the 2mm mandrel on my 6-step plier, just going to bend that away from me to make a loop like so. Hope that focused. I'll show you again. So there's our little unit. So let's do that again. Over, hold the bead down, or not, as the case may be. Bend this wire away from you. Want about 1 centimetre, give or take, and then with our plier, make our loop. It's a little long, so I'll just chop a little bit off. There we go. Try that again. There we go, that's better. And then just straighten your loop up with your plier like that. All right, so you just make as many of those as you like. I mean, that would make a beautiful necklace, of course. This is going to be a bracelet. So all I do is open this, and then making sure everything faces the right way, the correct way. Pop your larger loop onto your small one and just connect them all like that. Do the same with this one. Open it up, pop the large loop through the small one, and there, how pretty is that? That's going to be a beautiful bracelet, isn't it? I really like that. Yeah, so let's move on to the next one. Now let's do the square, shall we? The little square. Now I've chosen not to put any beads on this one, but again, you can do. I think they look really, really pretty. So again, 10 centimetres of your wire. So let's do the same thing. I will put timestamps on this, so, you know, if you are just wanting to forward or whatever, you can do. Let's cut a couple of lengths. 10 centimetres, give or take, you know, 4 inches. It's not an exact science. There is a little bit of waste, obviously, isn't there, at the end of the day, which is fine, as long as it's not too much. If you've got ideas for waste wire, let me know in the comments. I do believe there has been a couple of people that have suggested cutting them up into tiny, small pieces and encasing them in resin. I mean, I can't use resin because I'm allergic to it, but you know, you could do that if you wanted to. I'm just gonna have a slurp of my coffee. Beautiful morning here today. Right, same thing applies, but we're going to come in with our what are these called, Sammy? Flat nose pliers, that's the one. Now mine are only very thin, actually. They're not thin. They're not fat flat nose. They're on the 5mm tip, and I think what are we looking at the base? 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 at the base. So I'm going to say 9mm. So again, this part here is where we make our little joining loop, so you don't have to worry too much about that, you know, the length of this part. So start about here. If you want to mark your pliers so that you get it exact, you can do. So place your plier here like that, and then bend around your flat nose to make an angle like this. Replace your pliers. Don't butt it up too much because then you'll end up with a bent part. Pull it down 1mm or 2. So not right up, 1mm or 2 down. And then bend around again. Do that. So can you see we've got just a touch of an angle there. So let's rejig that so that you've got this square bit here. All right, and then we want to do that again because we're making a diamond shape. So pop your plier in again like this, a couple of millimeters down from where the last bend was, and then bend that over. There we are. So again, not an exact science. Oh, there we go. Pleasure flight again. So there we are. That's slightly offset. It doesn't matter to me. So we'll do another one. Bend. And then bend. And then bend. Quite often you'll find that people who make videos make things and they're perfect, and as soon, there you go, that's better. And as soon, excuse me, as soon as they start recording, things go slightly awry. But it doesn't matter, does it? Same principle. So let's pop a little angle on here. Just pop it up like that. You see? So do that for all of your, I mean, if you wanted to create, you know, a bracelet or a necklace with all of the different geometric shapes in, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Ignore the shape of that one. It's not a very good one, that one, but that's okay. And the same thing. So we come in with our plier. Hold here. Bend that across a little bit. Because it's not a circle, you'll need to bend this across a little bit and then wind it round again, over the top, back under, and again, leave it on a bit of an angle like this. You see that? I'm going to do this one anyway, just because it's not too bad. Bend your wires slightly, just slightly that way, and then start to wrap around. So over the top, underneath, and then back over on a bit of an angle like that. So again, 3 centimeters of wrapping wire here to make your spiral. So just measure it. Just over 1 1/4 inches. And then again, just snip things off. all at once, one at a time. It's entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. Right, so let's have a look at this. So again, we want to face this away from us. All right, so that this wire is underneath and that shape is away from us. Again, come in with your pliers and let's start this process. So just snip about here, and with a rolling motion of your wrist, just start to make your spirals. Really, really, really easy, but super effective, I think. So because we've put it on a bit of an angle like this, it means that we can get into this space a little bit, all right? Just so it gives us a little bit of room for maneuver as we're bringing our spiral in. So as you can see here, I'm just about done. I'll just bring it in a little tiny bit more and then squish it down with my thumb. Or indeed, your flat nose, nylon nose. Yeah, nylon jaw. Oh, come on, Sammy. Honestly, it's not that early. Anybody would think that I'd gotten up really, really early this morning, but I didn't. Although I did have a dream about a very large spider with the body of a ladybird last night, which is extremely weird, isn't it? Let me know in the comments if you have really weird dreams. Honestly, super weird dream. And it was one of those ones that was running around a lot and then it launched itself at me and I woke up when it hit my face. Dreams are so strange, aren't they? Anyway, back to the jewellery. Okay, so this one on your right, if you're right-handed, obviously, and with your shape facing away from you, let's come in with the plier. And again, start your beautiful spiral. I'm a big fan of spirals. I think they're really pretty in jewellery and meaningful too for lots of people. Certainly if you are of Celtic origin like I am. There we go. So bring in your flat nose or your wide plated chain nose and start to move your spiral around. And when you think it's in the right place, which that is, you can come in then with your thumb, give it a squash, settle it into place like that. Aren't they lovely? So even the wonky one looks fine, doesn't it? So can you just see there, just slightly wonky, but if you're a perfectionist like me, you know. So let's attach these two to this one. So again, come in with your little plier and with the bottom side facing upwards, bend your wire like that on a bit of an angle. And again with the other one, away from you at a bit of an angle. Chop off, so you've got about 1 centimetre. And then use your plier. That's still a little long. If it is a little long, you can come in, snip a little bit off, and then continue to make your loop. And then you settle your loop into place with your pliers. Like this. So let's cut off a bit of 1 centimetre, maybe slightly less. All done by eye. It's irritating when you cut off too much because then you have a little bit of a wonky loop, but again, you know, does it really matter? Unless you're selling, of course, and then you just have to remake the loop, the component itself. You want everything to be perfect when you're selling, of course you do, but if it's just for you or for a gift, you know, you can get away with it, I think. And then just settle it into place. And again, let's just attach these just for the sake of it. Just make sure everything is in the right direction, facing upwards in the right direction, and close that up. Yeah, aren't they pretty? Pretty, pretty, pretty. Now then, if you wanted to, at the conception, you can, when you've made your before you start the spiral, you've wrapped it round, you know, sort of at this point here, before you've wrapped it round, you can hammer your little piece, your little shape. So you could have a hammer, a little tiny bit of a hammer of this part here, or just the point. You could hammer, you know, the little circle just to give it some texture if you wanted to. I've chosen not to do that on here because, you know, I wanted to keep the circular form of the wire. Aren't they pretty? Okay, so let's go for the last one, and this is the pear-shaped one. Now, the pear-shaped one is just slightly different in as much as the shape itself requires a tiny little bit more wire, and also a little longer in the spiral, all right, because this is slightly longer and slightly bigger. Also, you need to make sure that you make your little components all at the same time, because by virtue, the pear shape, if you don't do them all at the same time and sort of measure one on top of the other, they can be different sizes. Did I save examples? I think I did. I was supposed to save examples so I could show you how different the sizes are. And that's not really a very good example, so don't worry. But yeah, yes. All right, so pear shape. Just going to take just a tad more wire. And I can't remember if it was 10 centimetres or 11. So let's go for 11 and we'll find out. Could be that all of these are literally 10 centimetres long, because it was a couple of days ago that I last made these. And usually I make a note in my little notebook, which is a great idea, of all of the lengths of wire that you need, you know, the sizes of your mandrels, that kind of thing. I'm going to go for, I've done 10, so let's see if that works. If it doesn't, I will stop the clock and we'll come back. So, pear-shaped. Again, this is the section where we make our little loops. Okay, around the 5th step of my mandrel, pliers. Okay, about so far. But because you're making a pear shape, you need to have just a little extra. So there is our pear shape. Okay, so we'll come in and do the same with all of our lengths of wire. And what we do is we do that so that everything is the same size and everything is the same shape, which they are. Yeah, so do however many you need. Again, pop a tiny bit of an angle here where the wires cross, where they meet. Not too much, just a little bit. I've probably left that slightly too short, but let's see. Okay, now then, pear shapes are fun, because if you started to wrap from here, it would go all funky in my experience. So my best advice is to you know, sort of hold your component right at the top here, and you're going to need to bend your wire so that you have that little angle on it. Let me do that again. Hold it here at the top, put a little angle on it like that, because otherwise, if you don't do it that way, all of this top bit goes funky. Trust me, and ask me how I know this. I say this every time. Ask me how I know these things. It's because when you're faffing, you discover, don't you? So, and then do the same, bend it around and leave it on an angle. There we go. And then again, hold it at the top, bend the wire around, and just leave it on an angle. Ooh, I'm leaving that a little bit short there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, now I want just a slight touch of a larger loop spiral on this one. So instead of 3 centimetres, I'm going to leave 3.5. It's up to you. I mean, these are just ideas for you, obviously. So you can make them as large or as small as you like. You can make the components as large or small as you like. This is just a lovely voyage of discovery. This beautiful, beautiful journey of wire working, which I am finding hugely therapeutic in my life. So apart from the bits on my base here, don't give me any peas. So again, with the wire underneath, the pear shape away from you, you come in with your plier, and we do the same thing. Around, chop this little bit off here, mind your eyes, and then come in with your flexible wrist if you have one, and start with your spiral. Wind it around nice and neatly. If you get a little bit of a bump, it really doesn't matter. It's nice to have things perfect, but if it's not perfect, don't worry. And then when you're happy, which I am, give it a squash, and then come in and just give it a settle like that. Beautiful, I think. Beautiful, beautiful. Away from you, smallest step on the plier. And that, my friends, is 3 versions of a similar motif, but with different shapes. So absolutely love these, and I hope that you make lots of them. You can use them for earrings, bracelets. You can use them for little sort of parts to break a chain up for a necklace, if you wanted to. And how lovely are those? So I will just finish this off. Whoops, come back. Actually, I've not done so bad there, have I, with the measurements? I think we won't get very much waste at all out of this one. So that's good. 10 centimetres will just about do it. If you don't like it to be as tight as that, I mean, look, I've literally had probably 2 millimetres of waste, which is brilliant. So 10, 11 centimetres, something along those kind of lines. I think that one might be just a tad too short. It is, but that's okay. You could just come in. We can rebuild. Doesn't matter. Okay. And then lastly, just attach again. And then I'll stop waffling and I'll let you go. And you can go and faff around with some wire and some beads if that's your desire. And make yourself something really, really pretty. Wonderful. And just attach them. Lovely. So there we go. So that is 3 beautiful, beautiful, beautiful links, all along the same theme, but with the different shapes. Aren't they gorgeous? Hope you have fun making those, my friends, and I will see you in my next video. Please do leave a comment, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help my channel, and it helps me to get pushed out to more people, which would be nice, isn't it, for us all to share the beauty in the world. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.